Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's update, I have a bit of I'm gonna give you a bit of a taste of how the combat of the game feels. I don't go too much into details about everything you will see in this video. I just wanted to give you just a very specific introduction to how the game plays and feels, and so I'm not gonna go into the specific of each characters. I'm not gonna tell what everything means, but whatever I show you, it should be enough for you to understand what's happening. And along the way, I even made some mistakes because, of course, I did. It's a game in development, so and I made sure to point those out. So because I wanted you to tell me what did you think of it. If you have any comments that could help prevent those issues. I just won't really stimulate a conversation between the people. I just want to see as much as possible people telling me what they really like, what they don't like, what I could have done better, and just anything at all. Just feel free. Even the artwork, you can just comment literally on anything. So feel free, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so here we are. I have set up a simple encounter for the purpose of this video update, but I'm not gonna go and explain every single thing you see here. I think if they will come up during the test, during this small session, I will explain them. Otherwise, I'll just leave them be for now. I will only explain really briefly one of the characters' sort of cards, so you know what I'm doing as I am doing it. Okay. So here we have the Iron Wolf. That's sort of the melee tough class that one of the players will be able to play. And you have here your willpower, which allows you to take actions or reactions. Whenever you use one, you just flip it over, and whenever you suffer damage, you just remove it, and you get 1 point on damage done. And if you suffer any further damage, you would apply a wound actually on this spot. So. And that's about it. The first sort of damage that you get is not really a wound, but it's called a stress. So it's very mind-based. It's all about the willpower of the character to sustain hits and all that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that whenever you get injured, you receive a wound that lowers your health, but it's more like how is likely that your character can sustain that kind of pain tolerance, essentially. And everything revolves around the character's will. Everything in this game, it's all about the mind, essentially. And you'll see what I mean as I show you a little bit of it. But anyway, yeah, okay. So let's start by the first thing we're gonna do. It's we're gonna use the Destiny tracker. This is the actual final cardboard piece will have these lovely little slots that like puzzle pieces that you will be able to slot in for the sake of this video and the limitation that this game engine has, and the fact that obviously I can't go any further than that. It will not fit perfectly, but take my word, I've done this, and it's really, really neat. So first thing we do, we take one of the pieces that slots in here random, and we put it in here like so. And the first thing we check usually, it's this little symbol, and checking if it matches with the symbol below it. If that's the case, like if I had put it here, these two would match, whatever it's represented here will take effect. In this case, this would have been an event, so I will draw an event card and read it and so on. But because this is the very first turn, nothing can happen the first turn. This icon is unique, and it's not featured on any of these little tiles. So the first thing that we do as well, it's count how many inspiration points you get, and this is quite likely. There's 4 of them, so you just basically flip this, and now you get 4 inspiration that can be used for every single character. And yeah, and that's pretty much it regarding the Fate Wheel. So the second thing we do, we distribute initiative cards to see who acts first, who acts later. It doesn't really matter in which order you do it, because obviously it's all covered. So we put 1 for each enemy card, and 1 for each hero card. There we go. Now we reveal them, and let's see. We got 1, so this character will go first. 1 is the lowest, 20 is the latest. Essentially, it's in a I believe ascending order, if I'm not getting my terminology wrong. So first it would be this character, then it would be this monster as number 9, then this one, and so on. So I have one last opportunity before the actual activation of each initiative card starts. I can trade initiative cards with my companions, but it will sacrifice. I will have to suffer 1 stress for it. So it's quite a gamble. And for now, I just don't want to, add any extra confusion. I just want to, like I said, just show you a simple couple of turns of combat. So I'm just gonna go straight in and show you. So there is a reference sheet here that tells me all of the actions I'm capable of doing, which they are highlighted here. So I'm just gonna zoom in for you, and you see here. So these are my basic action. To move, you require to spend 1 action point. Sorry, this is actually represented, and it says that this is an action and this is a reaction. So A stands for action, R stands for reaction. And this is the cost. So this tells you that you require 1 willpower point to use this action. This also 1, and this 2, and this also 1. So for now, I'm just gonna use a move action, which allows me to move up to my speed value. Let's close this. There we go. I'm just gonna flip this, and that's the character here. So allies can pass through each other's, but they cannot pass through enemies. So the enemies can also pass through each other, but not through me. So to move a space requires one speed point. This character has 4, as you can see in the top left corner. So I can move up to 4 spaces. And and that would be 1, 2. But because this is a difficult terrain, also known as an obstacle, when you enter here, you need to spend an extra point. So it would be, again, 1, 2, and 3. And then I can position myself here with 4. This crosses represents walls because of the column, as you can see on the illustration. So characters, walls basically do not block line of sight, but block movement. So I cannot move in this way or attack, because essentially you can only move in adjacent squares, and whenever there is a wall separating squares, those squares are no longer adjacent. So I cannot either move here or attack here with a close range weapon. But I can still see the target, because you can just imagine the character peeking from behind the column, so I can still see it. Therefore, I can actually shoot with my bow weapon that this character has. And normally you will not be able to shoot ranged attack when you're standing adjacent to your target. I mean, I could shoot it to the one further to it, but I want to try and focus all my attacks from these characters as well on a single person. So I'm gonna start with this. Here I can choose the type of attacks. This is basically one of your equipment cards. And here we have the cost of the attack, so how many action point it costs you. This one tells me like this costs 2. This one tells me if it's a close range or a ranged attack. All ranged attack can be done in sight, so there's no limit to how far you can shoot. This tells me the attribute this weapon will use. So S down here we check, it stands for senses, while here B would be body. So as you can imagine, this is a closed attack that uses body, so it's likely that it's basically actually swinging the bow and whacking people with the bow. So not really what a bow is designed for, so the attack is not as strong or as powerful. The square here and the triangle represent the type of dice you're using. So we have a 6-faced dice, just a regular 6-faced dice with number 6 being highlighted in red, which I will explain in a moment why. And the same thing here, the triangle represents D8, so you can you will roll a D8 whenever that tells you. So, and that's it really. We can, before I get to the damage and the type of damage, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna do the strongest attack this bow can do with a triangle. And yeah, so since my senses are 4, so I need to see what my target's defense is. So it doesn't really matter what which of these two cards I look at, because they're exactly the same enemy type. So I'm just gonna look at this one. So their defense is 3, and because my senses are 4, that means I've got an advantage. I'm more likely to hit him, right? So there is if their defense was 4, then it would be a matched attack, and if their defense was greater than mine, I would be at a disadvantage. So these are represented with by here. When your result is lower than your defender, you got a disadvantage. Means you had to roll a score of 5 or plus to hit. If it's equal, you got a score of 4 or plus, and if it's greater, then you need to score a 3 plus. So because I'm higher than the defenses, I need to score a 3 on a d8. So it should be fairly simple, but I need to spend 2 action points to use it. There we go. Now I'm gonna roll, and I got a 5, so I hit it. And damage this weapon does is 1. This would be if I score a critical hit. Critical hit it will show you when the number is actually colored in red. So the 6 only has 1, only on the 6, while this has it on 7 and 8, and a d12 has it on 3 numbers, or rather 4 if I'm not mistaken. And this will tell me the type of damage as well. So it's piercing. So this means that if the character has a weakness to that type of attack, the weakness for this character is hammers, like blunt type of attacks and fire, and an arrow has a piercing type of damage type. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to memorize this. You just need to remember you just need to check if the icon matches the defense. If it doesn't match, don't worry. If it matches, then you score an automatical critical hit whenever you hit. But since we haven't scored it and the damage doesn't match, we just scored a regular damage, which is 1. So we're just gonna put a wound next to the character here. And yes, the enemies just suffers wounds. They don't suffer stress like the characters, like the warriors. Okay, so I could finish the turn here, but I still got 4 inspiration points I could use, but each character is only allowed to use 2. So I could do another attack, and because this character has a special rule, like I will get in a moment exactly what it is, I'm rather than conserving it for my other characters, I think I'm gonna spend it right now. So I could risk a lower attack that uses a d6, but I'm less likely to hit. Instead, I'm just gonna do another strong attack again, just because I really want to kill him as quickly as possible, because they can really hurt you if you're not careful. So I'm just gonna roll, and I did a critical hit this time. So this was a 3 wounds, and the total number that this character can suffer is 3. Therefore, now he's at 4, and that's it. It's done. It's dead. So I'm just gonna remove it from here, and yeah, that's it. So what I was explaining before is that this character has a prescience ability and allows them to see into the future very, very briefly ahead of themselves, so like a few moments before ahead. So that means that if they discard one of these tokens, which is their prescience, they are allowed to reroll a dice if they miss the attack, which is why I said this character is more likely to hit. Or if they've been attacked, I can discard 1 in order to avoid being hit by an attack. So again, they can predict the future just briefly ahead of time, and therefore that's a great advantage that they have. So I'm just gonna, now that this card is done, I'm gonna remove the initiative card, and I'm just gonna put it here on the side, remembering that this is done, it's complete. So even if I don't remember who's next, I just need to glance and I say, okay, the lowest number now is this, so number 9, and see what all of these guys will do, not just 2 of them, like it's written here on the card, but it says all of them. This is just used for when you're placing down miniatures, to know exactly the number. So to know what this character will do now, I check the symbol up here, and I turn the card, and I find the symbol here in this column, and it's the first. So in this case, this is it tells me that basically these zombie-like characters, they're just being a bit thick, so they're not too sure what to do. So half of them will do nothing, while the other half takes a seek action. Now, seek action, it's together with a strategic action, they are the two basic actions that any enemy can do. And I will explain exactly what that means. So first of all, half. So there is 2 and 2. So I'm just going to say that these 2 are just going to be doing nothing, and these 2 will take their turn. So they take a seek action. So to seek, what a character does is basically they move toward the nearest warrior and attacks them, with the first attack they have in their list. So they move by 3 each one. So this just like the same rule as the character. So I would say that because the way that this is decided, it's by the group leader. Currently, the group leader, it's this character here. That's because he's carrying this token, and which will be passed on at the end of each turn. For now, this character, but because I'm just playing alone, it doesn't really matter. I decide, and I know that the knight is probably the most the one that can take the most punishment. So the first attack, I'm gonna decide to make it attack the knight. So I'm just gonna move this one here. And because there is a door here, these 2 spaces are considered adjacent to these 2 spaces. So so the guardsman has moved, and the first attack on his list, it's the one on top, this one, which is called Weak Thrust. It's a melee attack. It uses the B for body, and a D6 the square. So their body is free. As noted here, and just in case you missed it, his body is free, and the knight armor is 4. So then just let's make sure that there is no unique rules for this attack. No, this is the toxic burst is about their when they're defeated, so we don't care about this rule right now, the unique rule. Hey guys, Future Mauro here. Sorry, I just realized that while I did read this rule, I completely forgot to take care of it previously. So yeah, I don't know, I might tweak it because it is an easy rule to forget, or maybe it's just me. I'm usually a player who tends to forget things that you need to remember at specific cases. So either way, I might just tweak it. So yeah, back to the video. And if there was a little note, we will read it, but there is no note, so we don't have to worry about this. This is just a simple attack basically. And yeah, so and it's got a disadvantage because the knight has defense 4, so he will need to roll a 5+ to hit. So we just roll that. Okay, so this character has missed. That's the end of it. Now the next one moves, and by the rules, if you can have the enemies distribute attacks between available hero, you have to. So for example, if I could move this next one here, it wouldn't have to prioritize this, but it would attack this character or this character. And but because there's a lot of obstacles in the way and they only move by 3, what happens is that they move by 2 here, and they will need another 2 to move here, but because their movement is free, they can't move anymore. However, when this happens, instead of attacking, they move yet again. So next time they will move here, like so. Now there is one thing I didn't specify before, but whenever you move adjacent to a character, that character becomes pinned. So what it means that let's take this character. Let's say that this character it's moving here. This character, now that it enters this space, is being pinned by this character. It means their movement immediately ends. They can no longer move. They need to take a new movement action that will then allow them to move 1 more space. But if I move yet again adjacent, that means my action movement has ended yet again. And the only thing that would be allowed to do would be to move away freely like that. If I could just move away like so. But anyway, it doesn't really matter just now. So, hey guys, Future Mauro again. And yes, I've done it again. I've forgotten that right after watching this explanation, I just remembered that I didn't follow this rule when I moved the character with the green base close to that 4 at the very beginning and then moved it behind the column, because he wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have needed to spend an extra action to do it. So again, Sorry, it's just that, again, this is why the game is still in development, and I'm trying to figure out what rules are really necessary for the fun and which are not. So yeah, again, any comments and feedback? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just the kind of person who forgets everything every time. So super appreciate it if you could contribute with some ideas or feedback to that. And yeah, back to the video. Next. Yes, so this character basically has moved again, and it can no longer attack because it's finished. So we remove its card. We just put it here. And so next we've got the spellcaster, and what it's all the way back here. So the way of the site works is that you can see anywhere within your map tile, and you can see anyone that is standing adjacent an exit. So they can see anyone within the next map tile, these two, and obviously everybody within here can also see the two that are closest. So this person can see this character, but not these two here. So what can the spellcaster do this turn? So we could cast something that protects me, but because I'm nicely protected anyway by these two characters, I'm not gonna bother with that. I'm just gonna try and use try to destroy one as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna use Yorbu's Fire, which is a spell basically that deal this attack with based on fire, and it's when there is both the melee and the ranged icon, that means this character can be done either at a distance or at close reach, so it doesn't really matter how far you are. And it uses mind. Mind is very, very high. It's 5, so it will always have advantage. But now, the thing about using magic is not just an action. It will require you to use surges of this power called Mist. Mist, though, is quite harmful to anyone. It's a destructive force. So what it means is that every time you cast this spell with one surge only, you will acquire 3 Mist points. So you basically will be doing this, flip it, and put it on your character. A character can suffer a number of Mist damage, or rather corruption, equal to their mind value. So now their mind value is 5, so he can suffer from 2 more if he wanted, and nothing would happen. If he suffered a third one, you wouldn't put it here. Instead, you would just basically suffer damage instead. So you can literally kill yourself depending how powerful you want your spell. So the more power you put into it, the more harmful to you, but also to your enemy. It's a gamble. But the good thing is that this character, it's an Ashkin, which is people born in a specific way, which I'm not gonna get too much into detail right now. But they basically have, their body allows them to absorb more corruption than the rest. So what I'm gonna do, I am gonna use this spell with 2 surges, which means I will get 2 more damage added to the base damage by doing by using 2 surges. Yes, so I could use it up to 3 surges. This is the limit, is 3 surges, but I'm just gonna use 2, and I'm gonna go 3 in here in this extra surplus that this character can use, and 3 on him. So, and then I'm gonna flip the action required to actually cast this spell. Now I need to do a in order to hit here, I need to score a 3+, and so we'll see now what happens. Okay, I score a critical hit, which is good. It means that I score 2 plus the 2 surges, so I score 4 damage. And also this attack does a fire element, so I would have scored a critical hit anyway because these guys are weak to fire. So this guy is totally obliterated, it's gone. And now this character here has 1 more that I can spend, and I could use an inspiration to actually cast another spell, but that would be pretty harmful to me if I did, because if I spend another absorb another 3 corruption, I could absorb 2 because of the mind value, but then I would have to also suffer 1 stress point. So I'm not gonna do that just now. It's not necessary because I'm winning the fight anyway, so this is fine. So I'm just instead gonna use the power of this staff which has a pretty weak attack, but obviously it's just a staff and not really meant to be used as an attack. It's more like the extra ability that this staff has, which allows you to remove 1d free corruption from your character. So it means you roll a die and then you see how much corruption you roll. So I'm going to use this, and you can only do it once per activation. So yeah, better to use it as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to roll this, and I only removed 1. So I'm just gonna flip this back to 1 and another one here. There we go. So not good, but again, I'm getting pretty lucky rolls, so I'm not gonna complain for that. So we remove this because his turn is done. Next we've got these guys again. So what are they gonna do now? They're gonna be strategic. Okay. So what strategic mean? It's kind of the opposite of sick. So they will move as far as possible, but they will always have to keep one of the warriors inside. So what's going to happen, let's show you. This will move off here 1, 2, and 3, and then he will attack again, just like sick. The sick action, he will attack he will use the first attack in list, but which is the first attack in list? Weak thrust, but this is a melee attack, and as you can see, there is no one in range to attack. So what's the next one? It's Vile Spew. And yeah, it's just a ranged attack that is pretty strong. So now he uses I know that this attack uses I think this is corrosive. Yeah, this is corrosive, and I know that this character here, the weakness is corrosive damage. So if this attack character gets hurt, it will really get hurt if he gets attacked. So I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna instead, it will attack once again the knight. So he uses senses, which is 2, and yeah, the knight has 4. So again, it's a disadvantage, but he uses a d8, so it's still more likely. He has to score 5+, and he managed. So my option here, what I could have done, which maybe I should have, but it doesn't, in this case, likely doesn't make much difference because it damaged me by 1 point. So I'll just remove this. You have a reaction that you can take at any time whenever you get attacked. If you get attacked, like in this case, I could have chosen to take this reaction to roll away from the attack. So you could have just moved here and completely avoided the attack. But to do so, I would have to suffer anyway 1 stress. So I could have risked it and use it to avoid a critical hit, but I didn't, and it hit me anyway. So yeah, I would have basically ended up with 1 stress point anyway. So that's done. This character now, again, he has to attack another person inside. So now the option is between these two, because this has already been attacked by this group of monsters. So he's going to attack the Selvarin, this character here. And the defense is 2. So because the senses is 2, this time he needs only to score a 4 or higher to hit. Oh, actually, before, this needs to move further away. There you go. And now you can. And he missed. Now, once again, this and this one the only chance is here. So now, if I don't want to be stupid, I should probably roll away because this guy can seriously be damaged. But you know, what is the fun in not a bit of gamble or risking? Plus, this is just a demonstration to show you a little bit about combat. So I'm just gonna take the attack in this case, and let's see what happens. The armor, yeah, is free, so he has to roll a 5+ to hit me, and he missed. So I got lucky there, and that's it. That's the end. Oops, that's the end of their turn. So next, we've got. Where are we? Yes, we got the knight. So, and now we are hurt. So, what we could do, we could spend 1 point to heal 1 damage. So that means like you will bring back here one lost inspiration. So, but it's obviously I cannot use it for this turn. So it just stays like this. So it means that now I only have 2. Willpower points to use, and yeah, my attack here costs 2, and since I don't have any ranged attacks, I cannot attack anyone around me. So it's a bit of a problem right now. So, but I still got 2 inspiration points to use. So what I could do, I could use 1 inspiration point to move. So I could go 1 and 2, and then 3. And yeah, I'm gonna have to move again if I want to attack, because I wanted to use his special ability, but it costs 1 action to activate it, so I'm not going to. It's very useful, and basically it's a defensive stance that, depending on how I put it, either offensive or defensive, it gives me bonus to attack or when I'm attacked. But for now, it's better ways to kill them as quickly as possible, in my opinion. So I'm just gonna use this to move again, place myself here, and then I'm gonna do. I mean, I could use the simple attack and risk it. I could get lucky again. Yeah, why not? I'm just gonna try this way. So I'm gonna flip a will power to put myself in an offensive stance. Now all my attacks deal 1 damage more. I will lose this whenever I suffer damage. And now though I'm gonna use I can only use a d6. But the good thing is that the Iron Wolf uses a body which is 4, so it's still higher than its defense. So I only need to roll a 3. So hopefully that won't be too hard. Nope, that didn't work out. Okay, and that was the action I needed to cast the first attack. But okay, so I'm done. This character is done. And lastly, yep, the Deaf Speaker. So most of the ability of the Deaf Speaker have to do with people that are alive and usually have a mind. Unfortunately, most of the ability don't really work on the Taken. The Taken are this type of characters with this corruption that grows on them. So they will not work. So I'm not gonna bother with the extra ability of this character. Instead, I'm just gonna just charge in for this turn. To move, I will need 1 and 2, 4 and 6. So I'm gonna spend 2 to double my movement to speed of 6. Because if I only moved once, I would be able to do 1 and 2, and then I would waste the movement, and I would have to take another movement action and move again only on 1. But instead, I can combine 2 movement my action into 1, and I can move up to 6 all the way here. And now, yeah, this character is gonna attack. Unfortunately, it can only attack with the weakest attack because we don't have enough willpower. This character is a little bit weaker than the knight, so it attacks with 3. So it's matched to the defense. The good thing is that if we damage it, we can cross a critical hit because it uses a blunt force, and their weakness is blunt. So, okay, let's see what happens. We need to score a 4 or more. Yeah, all right, we scored a critical hit and we killed him. Yeah, should have probably declared to attack the furthest one, and I made a mistake there. So, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just like I said, I'm not gonna finish this combat. I just wanted to show you a little bit of this. And then yes, once this is done, we are done. The turn is over. Leadership is passed to the next player in order, whichever order you decide you wanna play, with your friends or by yourself. And yeah, the turn is over. So the next thing we would do, once again, we would draw that. This time we only have 1 inspiration, so not great, but at least now there is only 2 left enemies. We would shuffle the initiative, and yeah, the turn will begin again. And yeah, there we go. Oh, this time he will get to go first, but yeah. And yeah, it just keeps on going and so on. And this is about it, to be honest, for now that I would like to show you. I'm not going to go too far into details of everyone. I just wanted to give you a really quick overview of everything. And I think this is it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you liked it or you have comments or suggestions, just always strongly remind you, please write them down. I really appreciate any feedback. It really helps me It motivates me, it helps me to keep going. So any comments, anything at all, just please do. I'm really happy. And and then the usual like and subscribe, because that really helps. And I'm trying to grow the channel as well to create more awareness to my project. So, all right. Thank you very much then, and have a good one. Bye.